I've always believed that when you walk into a store and pick something up, you should be able to look at it and know exactly what it costs. That price should be clear. It should be consistent. It shouldn't depend on who you are, what your income is, or what some algorithm thinks you're willing to pay. If a store wants to put the price on the shelf instead of on each individual item, fine, as long as the price on that shelf applies to everyone the same way. But what we're starting to see now is something very different, and it's troubling. There's a growing push in retail toward what's called dynamic pricing, or surveillance pricing. That's where the price changes depending on the customer. Not just depending on supply or demand, but depending on you, your shopping habits, your income, your history, the data the company has collected about you. And here's the strange part. In most states, that practice is legal. Michigan, for example, used to have a strong item pricing law. Every item had to have a price tag on it. Retailers complained that it was too burdensome. The law was weakened. They were allowed to put prices on shelves instead. And gradually, enforcement faded. Now you walk into stores and sometimes see multiple price tags on the same shelf, old ones not removed, new ones placed over them, and you're left guessing what the actual price is. Now Maryland is stepping in. It's about to become the first state in the country to ban surveillance pricing in retail grocery stores. The legislature passed what's called the Protection from Predatory Pricing Act, and the governor has said he intends to sign it into law. This new law targets large retail grocery stores and stops them from using personal data to change prices in real time for individual shoppers. It still allows promotional pricing and loyalty program discounts, but it prohibits charging different people different prices for the same item at the same time based on personal information. Let's be clear about what's been happening. Companies already use dynamic pricing all the time. Airlines do it. Ride-sharing services like Uber do it. Online retailers do it. You've probably seen ads for services that claim to search across websites to find the best price because prices can vary from person to person. There have been instances where rideshare prices surged dramatically during emergencies because demand spiked. Some people have asked whether surge pricing during a crisis is simply price gouging under another name. That's a different debate, but it shows how elastic pricing can affect real people in real time. In the grocery space, the concern is different. It's not about demand surges, it's about personal data. Retailers collect enormous amounts of information: what you search for, what you hover over online, what you buy repeatedly, how often you shop, whether you live near competitors, even inferred information about your income level, dietary preferences, or family size. Surveillance pricing uses that information to determine how much they think you're willing to pay. One example that's gotten attention involved a shopper in Oregon who requested their data from a major grocery chain under a state privacy law. They received a 62-page profile. Much of the information was inaccurate, but that flawed data was still being used to influence pricing decisions. The Maryland law aims to stop grocery stores from doing that. It requires prices to remain fixed for at least one business day, preventing instant price changes throughout the day. It bans the use of personal data like shopping habits, ethnicity, or income to set individualized pricing, and violations will be treated as unfair or deceptive trade practices. But there are limitations. The fines are relatively modest, up to $10,000 for a first violation and $25,000 for repeat offenses. Consumers cannot sue directly under this law. Only the Maryland Attorney General can bring enforcement actions, and even then, companies are given 45 days to fix violations after being notified. So yes, it's a step, but some argue it doesn't go far enough. There are also exemptions. Loyalty programs, for example, are still allowed. That means stores can continue to collect data and offer different pricing through those programs. Critics worry that loyalty pricing could be used to effectively raise regular prices while offering conditional discounts that require customers to hand over more personal data. It's not just brick-and-mortar stores either. Consumer Reports conducted an investigation into pricing on a major grocery delivery platform. Nearly 400 consumers shopped for identical baskets of goods at the same time. The result? Different shoppers were shown different prices for the same products at the same store. In some cases, the difference reached 23%. That could amount to more than $1 and $200 per year for families. After the investigation was published, the company announced it would end the practice of personalized grocery pricing. From a consumer protection standpoint, this is significant. Historically, consumer protection law began with weights and measures. If you bought a bushel of grain centuries ago, you had to trust that the merchant's measuring device was accurate. Governments eventually stepped in to standardize measurements because ordinary people couldn't verify whether they were getting what they paid for. Pricing transparency is similar. When you pick up an item in a store, you should know what it costs, and that price should apply equally to everyone. The idea that two people can walk into the same store on the same day and pay different prices for the same item based solely on what an algorithm thinks about them feels wrong to many consumers. Some argue that customers can simply put items back if they don't like the price. But if prices are constantly shifting, even hour to hour, comparison shopping becomes nearly impossible. Retailers defend dynamic pricing by saying it increases revenue efficiency. Studies show they can boost profits by tailoring prices. But consumers may not realize that the very loyalty programs they join for discounts could also be feeding the data systems that raise prices elsewhere. Some people avoid loyalty programs entirely for privacy reasons. They don't want stores tracking their habits. Others join them assuming they'll always benefit. The uncomfortable possibility is that some customers may pay more precisely because the system predicts they can afford to. Maryland's move could influence other states. Legislatures in places like California, Colorado, Illinois, New Jersey, and New York are reportedly considering similar measures. Whether this becomes a nationwide shift remains to be seen, but at its core, this debate is about fairness. Should pricing depend solely on supply, demand, and publicly posted numbers, or should it adjust invisibly based on who you are? Many consumers believe they deserve clarity, a posted price that applies to everyone. No hidden variables, no individualized calculations. That's the standard that consumer protection laws were built on. And now, as technology enables ever more sophisticated pricing strategies, states are beginning to decide where the line should be drawn. Maryland has drawn one. Other states may follow. Time will tell whether pricing transparency becomes the rule again, or whether personalized pricing becomes the new normal.